G'day troops, it's Maro here again, and today we're going to be dealing with Ricks in Rotorua Quarry, and this is a case about what happens when you fall out of love with the boss and things go to an abandonment place. Now, the facts are, shall we say, in dispute, but what we do know is that there is an altercation. Essentially, there's a bloke, Mr. Ricks, he works for Mr. Maisie, a director, and a conversation happens during the course of which there is a verbal altercation. Later that day, these two parties meet on site. We're not exactly sure who does what. There's some conversation about headbutts and pushing, but Mr. Ricks ends up falling down on a car and allegedly aggravating an arm injury. Off he goes to ACC and on sick leave as a result of that. There are some conversations between the parties, but effectively Mr. Ricks alleges, here's my medical certificate, can't come to work, can't do the job, that's no problems. To which the employer says, hey, haven't heard from you, don't know what's going on, not too impressed with various bits and pieces, this could be abandonment to us. Now, as you can imagine, bit of a disagreement there on the facts. There's obviously a conversation about whether there's a reason, or a secret reason here about whether the altercation has upset someone, who has effectively started this against who has effectively been the victim of this. There is an altercation around that, and as you can imagine, an authority hearing ensues. So what do we need to know? Folks, this is what you need to know. First and foremost, it isn't abandonment if you don't follow the appropriate steps and process, which is actively, as the employer, attempting to reach out to that individual, have a conversation with them, find out what's sick, what's wrong, and deal with it. In this instance, it does appear that the employee did fire in through email copies of the medical certificate and the timelines, so it's very difficult to successfully argue or evidence the abandonment conversation. The second thing that's interesting is that the employer says, well, you know what, even if we did get this wrong, and we're really sorry about that, the bloke's on ACC, he's getting paid, so there isn't really a lost wages conversation to be had here. To which the authority says, no, generally speaking, ACC can't be seen as a mitigant in this space, so a full lost wages payment process is put in place here, and the employee has a successful claim. So what do we need to take from this? I think two really important lessons. The first one is that abandonment has a really high threshold. If there's some degree of ambiguity about it, it will fall in the employee's favour, and an employer is under a genuine obligation to make a meaningful effort regularly to reach out and assuage themselves about the employee's behaviour, expectations, and timelines. The second thing that's really important to note here is that if you are on ACC, if you are receiving some payments in that space, it does not offset the potential for a loss of wages claim in the authority, which means that effectively it is no defence to that penalty being placed on you as an employer. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, as always, a genuine pleasure to be here. Thanks very much for your time, and we'll see you guys again sometime soon. Cheers.